Hey, we are here with our fourth installment of Carriage House Conversations, and I'm very happy to be here with Eric from Nittany Entertainment. So, yay, DJ in the house! Very excited. Nittany's been one of our preferred DJs forever, since 2017, 18, something like that. I don't even remember the first time we met, the first time.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, time flies.
Yeah, I feel like everything is like before COVID and after COVID.
You got a point, yeah.
Everything before COVID was like last year, and then it's like, oh man, that's been almost 3 years now.
Yeah, so you're BC.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, it's still going.
So, Nittany, obviously, from
State College
yeah,
area. Yeah.
So he's doesn't mind driving down here all the time.
Not at all.
How many DJs are with your group?
Yeah, so there's about 6 that are constantly there. Yeah, so 6. We fluctuate a little bit here and there. So we're always looking for new talent, but...
You know, I love Eric the best. They're all great. I love all of them, but, I'm very happy when I see Eric pulling up in the van. He's my fave.
So, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, talk a little bit. I mean, you're married, couple of kids. He also has an awesome ice cream truck. If you're in the State College area and see that trolling around there, that's cool. Besides that, talk a little bit about Nittany, what you guys have to offer.
Sure. Yeah. So we are a wedding DJ company. We specialize in just customizing the music to what the couples want. One of the best things that I think that we offer is an app. It's called Vibo, V-I-B-O, where the couples can actually go in and pretty much customize every part of the wedding reception. I think one of the things that kind of separates a good DJ from the great DJs are just the preparation. And we spend tons of time leading up to the weddings to actually preparing the order of the events, the music styles, the genres, putting everything in order. We call them crates, they're folders of how they want their music to happen, working with them on how they want to do their introductions, and also what parts of the reception are important to them, because they may want to have 5 toasts or have a custom introduction, or maybe they don't want to have paired dances, or they want to combine the paired dance, or they want to do a thing where they run around all the tables and do a photo with every couple. And so we want to figure that out with them and kind of listen to what they want, and then work with them on making sure that it can happen. And I think that there's a lot of good DJs out there. There's not a lot of great DJs. I like to try to think that we're great DJs, but that's up to you guys. But and what separates the good from the great? Well, obviously talent is important. You have to be good at what you do, and you have to be passionate about it and like it. But you also have to put the preparation and the time and the practice, and just going to conferences and learning about what are the newest trends, and staying up on the music, and connecting with your couples, and just listening to what they want, and making it about them too. I think some DJs, the ego kind of gets in the way, because if they know they're good at it, they might be the best DJ out there, but if they let their ego and it kind of becomes about them, it really shouldn't be for a wedding. It should be about the bride and the groom, and the bride and the groom's parents and their family and friends. It's not about the DJ, and we try to incorporate that into what we do, is making sure that the guests are having fun, bringing the energy to the party, but not making it about us. And one other analogy I would use, and you can stop me at any time if you want. Is a sporting event. So if you're watching, let's say, a football game, basketball game, whatever, and you notice the referees in the game, they're probably not doing a good job, because the job of the referee is to control the game and make sure that the product on the field, the sporting event, is the best that it can be. And if it starts becoming about the referee, they're probably not doing the best job that they could. And I know this because I actually started my DJ business as a soccer referee back in high school, and I needed the money to pay for the equipment that I borrowed from I borrowed money from my grandma to start. And So, being a referee, you kind of notice like these are things that you need to do, and ultimately is to control the game. But you don't want to become the focus of it. And I think that as a DJ, it's the same kind of deal. We want to keep the reception moving and get you to the party, but once the party starts, we want to keep everybody having fun and keep that energy level. But at the same time, it's not our wedding; it's your wedding. And if you want a certain type of songs or genres of music played, we're going to work that in, and we're going to do our best to keep that energy level and that party going for the whole time.
And some of those things that you've said, I've seen all of those. I've seen where the DJ, wants to be the center of attention and is out there talking a lot, and that's just not cool. I've seen where they play their same playlist every time they come here, and they don't want to play what obviously the bride and groom have requested, because I've heard that same music every time. So, and the one thing, many things that I love about you is that you're so professional every time you come. Always on time, always a great setup, look professional, speak professional. And you are in the background, but like we'll be downstairs and I'll hear like this music pumping upstairs. It's always the best music, it's different. So it's obviously what they requested. So you always enjoy being here.
Yeah. Again, it's I'll use an analogy of like a painter. If you're gonna paint a picture and you're gonna paint by number, they give you the paints and you say, okay, I'm gonna paint this picture. And it might be a nice picture. If you're an artist and you have paints, you're gonna use a lot of different paints to create a really cool picture. So couples kind of give us what paint they want, and then we have to paint that picture. And our ultimate challenge is to paint the best picture with what paints they give us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because sometimes you might have your hand tied a little bit more because a couple says, hey, I really don't like this genre of music, and a lot of the guests might like that style of music, so you have to kind of work around that to still incorporate those guests and to have as much fun as they can. And we accept that challenge. It's fine. You guys as the couples can dictate as much of the party as you want, and we like that. But again, it does make it a little bit more challenging sometimes when the music is restricted, which is totally fine. But we work around that, and that's what I think a good artist can do, and that's where talent comes in, and also just kind of knowing the music and studying the music. Like this past November, I did an event for an Indian family, and that is not my strength, but I spent a lot of time working with them and prepping the Bollywood music that they wanted to hear, and the Punjab and the different styles of music to really understand what they were going for. And I had multiple people high-fiving me saying, hey, this was a great time. And I definitely felt a little out of my element, but I accepted the challenge.
Oh, that's awesome. If someone, do you try and direct them if you know something probably isn't going to go over well or really isn't going to work well?
Yeah. The customer is always right per se, except when they're wrong, but
right.
You're always right, But I'll say, hey, this is how I would do it, but it's not my
right.
day, it's not my wedding, and if you want it done your way, then I shut up and do the best I can for you.
Right, same. The bottom line is we always say it's your day. Whatever you want, you're the couple, we want you to have a great day, but it might work better this way. So, we always give our suggestions as to how things flow better.
Yep, and I think that for us, this is the one time or maybe two times that they're doing this. And, but we're doing it every weekend, sometimes multiple times in the weekend. So we've seen a lot, you and I, and can kind of play off of those experiences and know like, hey, that's probably not going to work the best for your day, and we'll throw that out there. And if they want to listen, cool. If they say no, hey, like it has to be this way, or my mom's telling me it's got to be this way because they did it that way in the 90s. Okay, that's fine. We'll do our best to make that happen.
Yeah. All right, got my questions written down.
Okay.
What other services do you provide?
Yep. So I've always been a techie. So I'm always into like new cutting edge things. I have a passion for lighting and lighting design. So we do uplighting, monograms. So if you want your initials put up on the brick walls, you know, behind the bar or back over near the tables, it can be a nice added effect. We have all kinds of photo booths, anything from a selfie photo booth where you can just take a quick picture and text it to yourself and get it instantly on your phone, or the traditional print photo booths, which are a lot of fun and nostalgic, where you take different props and you take pictures with your guests and family, and that's a lot of fun. We even have a 360 photo booth now, which is the new hot trend.
Yeah.
That became really big from the Oscars, you know, where you have the spinning arm that takes the picture around the guest, and you get a cool 360 video. So that can be a lot of fun to add to the wedding, and it's definitely cutting edge.
That's cool. I'm a sucker for a monogram.
Yeah.
I like that.
And one other thing is, in our company, I have an in-house graphic designer, so that we do all custom work. So if you say, hey, I want this font, this style, I want some uppercase, some lowercase letters, we give you guys you know, a design sheet, and we'll work with you on that. So it's going to be custom work. It's not just going to be, hey, I saw this on Pinterest, I want you to copy it, or this guy on Fiverr makes this, can you make it like that? We actually will do the custom work, and so we have the talent to make it really cool.
And uplighting in the barn. I mean, the barn is beautiful, but that little touch of uplighting on the brick walls and, you know, on the beams, just the little accent really makes a difference. When you go back and look at the pictures, it looks so beautiful.
Yeah, what uplighting is designed to do is to highlight architecture, and the barn has the beautiful, you know, brick and stone in there, and the wood columns, and that's really what you're doing, is you're highlighting those things. And when you get those awesome pictures back, you're going to see that in the background, and it really does kind of make it look cool.
It is pretty. Why should someone hire a professional DJ as opposed to running their playlist?
Sure. So we get playlists all the time, and I can look at a playlist right away and be like, yeah, no, you know. So you can, just like you plan everything for your wedding or plan for any type of event, you think it's going to go one way, and it takes a 180. And so being able to adjust on the fly and keep the energy level up is so important for a reception, because ultimately, you know, if you have 3 hours to dance, we want to keep people dancing for 3 hours. You know, you don't want them dancing for the first hour and then just hanging outside for the rest of the time, or hanging at the bar. You know, there are some crowds that will be a little more to that, but you have to kind of like running a marathon. Like you don't want to peak too high too quick, and then everyone falls off. Like you have to kind of bring them up and down and up and down, and that's where a really good curated list will help. And then just also being able to see what the crowd's reacting to. Like if they're really into you know, music from 2015, like I'm trying to find other songs from that year, because maybe that was the year they graduated college, and there's a connection to that. Or you know, if the older guests are really getting involved, which you know, can happen, you know, kind of making sure that they stay throughout the night and stay active and stay on the dance floor, but also not tiring the guests out. Like you want to give them the opportunities to bring the energy a little bit down, so that they have enough to keep going through the night. So it is ebbs and flows, and I could sit there and make the best playlist in the world and get to the wedding and have to adjust it, you know, 100 times, because it's just not going to work with the way things are flowing that day. And then one other thing, which I didn't really touch on, is I come from a club and a bar background where I've DJ'd in the bar industry for years, and we look for talent from that. And it's a different game, because you're there to keep people in a bar, so you learn how to do that. And one of the things that we do is what we call beat mixing, is that you actually will play the song in beats, so that if you're dancing on the floor, when the next song changes, you don't even realize you're into it. Whereas like some DJs or Spotify will kind of like fade the next song out and bring it in, and that gives guests an opportunity to be like, I'm gonna go and walk off the floor. So if we don't give them that opportunity, like they're already into the next 2-3 songs, and they're just having a great time, and that also helps keep the energy level.
Yeah, I love it when you do that. Do you help the couple choose music for their wedding?
Yep. So through our app, Vibo, everything is separated into sections. So like cocktail hour, dinner playlists, pre-ceremony, the walking down the aisle, what the wedding party is going to walk down the aisle to. They can pick every song if they want, and we give them suggestions when they open up each section. Or they can go into Spotify or Apple Music or other streaming source and make the playlist in there, and then just import them right over into our app. So it makes it super simple and easy. We're all about trying to make things easy for them as well. If they come to me and say, hey, like, I'm not sure what to do, and you know, we'll say, hey, like, that's fine. You know, if you want to give us a couple artists or songs, that's cool, and then we'll kind of Pandora the rest of the list for them. We'll kind of figure out what we think will work best for them. So it's really up to the couples of how involved that they want to be in the music. Sometimes we see this is where the brides will actually say, hey, honey, groomsmen, or you, my groom, you're gonna do this job. And this is the one thing that they kind of like put in charge of the groom.
Yeah.
Not always, and I know they're, you know, but that's where the guys, we see a lot more into the wedding is, hey, I want to kind of plan the music, and so we'll work with them on, you know, what they want to do. But again, they can pick as many of the songs as they want. If they come to us with a list that's way out of left field, you know, some like super heavy metal, death metal, something like that, you may have to sit down and talk to them and be like, well, what is your goal with this list? Where do you want it to be? You know,
Bang my head.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. I always say, like, you know, think about your youngest guest and your oldest guest and everybody in between. And, you know, the best parties are where the couples kind of leave it a little more open to everybody, I think, because you want to try to encompass it's a party. You know, we want friends and family to just have a good time. But again, if you have a custom list, we'll work with it.
I recently had a bride ask me for suggestions for her processional.
Okay.
I was like, you might want to talk to your DJ. That's out of my element.
Yeah, I mean, Google is your friend. It's always your friend. Like you can go on Google, but yeah, we're more than happy to offer suggestions. You know, every year we in our company we make up, you know, top lists of each thing. So whether it's a father-daughter dance that became popular throughout the year, or like a first dance that comes on, or a first dance that kind of goes away. You know, like Ed Sheeran was really big, you know, pre-pandemic, but you don't hear as many people going that route anymore for some of the slower songs. So again, it really just kind of it changes and ebbs and flows with the couples, and you know.
And be creative. Look outside the box. I mean,
yeah,
we hear the same ones every week. It
We
doesn't
do.
hurt to, you know.
Yeah, like if you and your dad have a song that you know he sang to you when you were a little kid, or you know something that, or you want to play something a little more upbeat, or you know, that's totally fine. And we'll also work with you on making custom mixes. So like if you want to do, you know, start out with a slow song and then have the record scratch and go into something a little faster, that's something that we can do as well.
And they're the ones we remember, the ones that are different, and they're the ones your guests are going to remember, the different ones for sure. So, you know, think of something different.
Yep. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, you know, I heard I Loved Her First last year, you know, for a father-daughter day. Like, it's funny, sometimes you'll see the exact same song come up week after week after week. It just is what it is. I mean, you may feel limited to what songs are out there, and if you are Googling those lists, that maybe that's all that's coming up, especially if you aren't really into music. But you know, ask your father, ask your mother, ask your, you know, significant other, hey, what do you think? Like, you know, if you don't have the time, you know, obviously the internet is your friend to look in, or ask your DJ or band or whoever you're working with on that.
But I guess good point. Not everybody's into music. I love music, so, and I like to look for different stuff too. So maybe, look for different things. What if a guest requests a song that is on a do not playlist?
Yep. So now you
happens all the time.
Yeah, I think that's another thing that a DJ is versus a Spotify is a deflector. So I remember going to parties in college where, you know, people were playing songs, and then, you know, you're not going to please everybody in the room. One person's going to be like, "Oh, that song's not good. Change it." And you know, you kind of want to play the song for the masses of the people, but again, if it doesn't fit with what you want, we're not gonna play a do not play. The only time it becomes an issue is if it's your mom, your dad, and they come to us and say, "Hey, I want to hear this song." we'll say, hey, go to your daughter, go to your son, and bring them back to us, and then we'll think about it. Because, we're not going to get into a situation where we're playing a song that the bride and groom have requested that we not play. That is really the only exception to the rule, is if a parent comes up and says, I want to hear this song, and we say, go find your daughter or your son and bring them up to us, and they have to give us a thumbs up.
Yeah. What do you wear to a wedding?
Clothes. Yeah. I mean, so again, like it's evolved. It's evolved over the years. So
He used to wear a tank top and shorts.
yeah, right. I mean, it's evolved. I've seen photographers, not any that here, but that show up in cargo shorts and t-shirts. So it can vary, but a nice dress.
Professionalism is very important.
Yes, a dress shirt.
Who you are.
Exactly. A dress shirt, dress pants will always look the part. We're not usually wearing something uber flashy because we want to kind of blend in with.
I just pictured you in like a silk shirt.
Yeah, no, but like black dress shirts, black pants, dress tie, and then I always like to mimic the groom. So as the night goes on, if the groom takes not his shirt, but like if he loosens his tie, then if I have a tie on, I'll loosen my tie. If he takes his tie off and pops his collar, maybe I'll do the same. Because again at that time of the night, but always follow the lead of the groom, because he's the most important man dressed there.
That's an awesome point. And you can never be overdressed. It's a wedding.
Correct.
And especially as a vendor.
Yeah.
I think it's so important. You don't want to outshine anyone. You don't want to stand out, but you still should be dressed professionally.
Yep. And usually I'll show up with like a company polo and black pants for setup. And if it's going to be 100 degrees out in the field and we're doing the ceremony, sometimes I will continue to wear the black polo throughout the ceremony, but we're off to the side. And when we set up for the ceremony, something I always try to make sure is that we're out of the frame of the professional photographer's photos. So that way, when you guys are looking at your photos, 20 years from now, you're not being like, oh man, what's that DJ doing in our photo?
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's really the only time that you would see us not in a suit-like feeling.
Yeah.
It gets pretty hot in that field sometimes.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. What's your policy on smoking, drinking during an event?
Yeah. So no and no. Yeah, no. It's again, we're there for you. We're not there for us. And if you can't sacrifice that time for those people, then I don't think you want them at your wedding. And that's just it's a no.
Thank you. I agree. All right, we're winding down, but I just want you to answer a couple.
Okay.
Whatever you feel comfortable with. Just
all right.
a little get to know you stuff.
Oh boy. Who would you swap lives with for a day? Ooh, that's interesting. I would swap with Becky, because I think I'd like to see what she has to deal with, because I know sometimes there's some craziness that goes on behind the scenes.
You lie. You lie.
Honestly, anybody in this industry, I think it would be fun to switch with, because we all want the same thing. We want you to have the best wedding that you can have, but we come from it from different parts, and you want to work as a team. And I think that's one of the best things about Herman Luthers, is everybody does come together and work as a team, and no one's trying to step on each other and saying, oh no, we have to do this dance, no, we got to get food out, no, we got to take these pictures. No, we're working together to make sure that your wedding flows the best that it can. And so I know I'm going back to that, but I think it'd be nice to see how it works from photographer's side or venue and.
Oh, speaking of, Emily Kane feels that her secret talent is DJ, so I offered her guest DJ spot.
All right, Emily, I'm gonna try the. I can take a good photo with my phone, so. But I know it's hard, because we've had to learn a lot for a photo booth is just a novelty. It's not a professional photo, but learning ISO and aperture and f-stop and all the things that the photographers their lingo. There's a lot to it that you wouldn't think of, and the things that they've told me, like the golden hour, like where they have a certain limited amount of time where they can get those really cool shots when the sun is kind of setting. And again, we're on the same team as those photographers, and we love communicating with them throughout the night to make sure that they know, hey, like the cake is going to happen in 15 minutes, so if you need to do something, do it now, and just kind of being on that same team.
Same, like you mentioned the golden hour, that's usually like right when I'm ready to serve the bride and groom, but I just do not serve them. I don't do that, and we just start with everybody else, because I mean, once you miss the sunset, you miss the sunset. That's gone.
Yep.
So go ahead, photography, do that, get those photos, and they can even make it back in.
And it's all about priorities for you too. What is important to you? If you want to have that sunset shot, then plan that out with your photographer beforehand so that you know that that's happening. If you would rather get your dances out of the way, or you want to eat and the food's important to you, and you want to be fed first, well then do that. If you're not into photographs. I remember at my wedding, I said, hey, my wife is beautiful, take as many shots of her as you want, but at a certain point, I didn't want the photographer taking pictures of me anymore. I just wanted to drink with my friends and have fun.
I think the guys feel that way.
Yeah, it's different for guys and girls.
And you mentioned too the dances and everything. My suggestion always is, after your main entrance, doing those dances and doing those toasts, because once those guests get up and move, you've lost them.
Yeah.
So if you want to come in and do your, let's say you want to do your dances, and then the bride will say to me, like in our final meeting, she'll say, we're going to do our dances and then we're going to do our toasts after dinner. There's no way you're going to corral those kittens back to the tables. They're gone. The bar's open. They're outside. So I always suggest doing all of that while you have that captive audience, and then doing dinner, and then let them go party, let them go drink. If you don't want to do that, that's, again, up to you. But you really have everybody seated that can pay attention to watch those dances, to listen to those toasts right away. It is so much smoother when we do it that way.
Yep, I agree 100%. I'm all about efficiency, and I like to move a timeline along. And I think if you can kind of get them out of the way, it gives you the ability to relax a little bit more. And good luck trying to find that maid of honor or that best man, or and especially if they've been putting back a couple during dinner. Like you want to give them that opportunity to give you the best toast and kind of get it out of the way. Especially for toast dances, I'm okay with, like, if you want to do your first dance before dinner, but then if you want to do the parent dances like right after dinner, especially if we're up on a timeline, if we're like behind, and we want to keep that food as good as it can be.
Right.
But one of the other common things nowadays is shortening the lengths of songs. At least a minute, you got to be at least a minute, but 2 minutes, 3 minutes, whatever you want. Now again, if you're having a moment with your mom or your dad, I mean, those people dealt with you for 20 to 30 years, give them that extra minute or two. It's not that big a deal. But if if you really don't like the spotlight, or if you kind of know, hey, we got to keep things moving, a minute, 2 minutes is plenty of time. The song fades out. Hey, everybody, our bride and groom, or our bride and her father, bride and mother, groom and mother, whoever. We want to keep those things moving along. So you always have the option to edit them out. We can edit them beforehand, or we always say, hey, give us the eye contact, and eye contact, nod, and boom, that song's gonna fade out.
And try and keep a rein on those toasts and speeches if you can.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they can get long-winded and they're out of your control, especially once they.
Yes, and this isn't anything against guys versus girls, because I love them all, but it's funny because the bridesmaids always have it planned out. Like, they always have it written down. They have a note card, or they have their phone, and a lot of times the groomsmen are like, I'm just gonna wing it. And you're like, oh, okay, But if you're gonna do that, at least have some talking points and keep it short, because again, we don't need to hear what happened in Vegas or New Orleans or wherever you went, and you don't want to.
Grade.
Yeah, and you don't want to embarrass. It's not the time to do that. Just tell a quick story of how much you love them, and do a toast and move on. Don't tell us the whole story, because again, we're a TikTok generation where people are watching 10-second videos. You're going to lose your people after a couple minutes.
Yeah. We had a mother of the bride one time give a toast starting once the son was born and went through his life, and it was long.
I can top you. I had a wedding one time. They had 4 toasts. Each was 30 minutes.
No
so
way.
you do the math.
No
okay?
way.
Not only did it, so we did 2 of them before dinner. One was, it was the sister of the bride. She was like, I don't know, 15 or 16. So she cried for 15 minutes, something, you know. And then she was finally able to kind of get through the speech, and it was heartfelt and cute. Okay, no problem. So when I took the mic to the best man, I said, "Hey, keep it quick." Like I kind of mumbled that, and he went. They owned a PR firm out of Pittsburgh, so they're salespeople, and they do PowerPoints and talking a lot. He went on for 30 minutes. So then after dinner, the father of the groom wanted to do a speech, and again, I think he was in with that same company with the PR firm. He talked for 30 minutes, and then the father of the bride couldn't be outdone, so he had to talk too. And it was 2 hours, and it was at a venue that had a hard 10 o'clock ending time, and I think we got the dancing started at like 9:10. So that, you know, it definitely, and the venue manager was mad at me because of the hour of toast. Because again,
Food.
you cannot keep the food great if you are holding it in a warmer for an hour. Like there's just no way to make 100 steaks or chicken, fish, whatever, and keep it like that when it's supposed to be coming out in 10 minutes and it comes out 55 minutes later. You know, it's just not, it's not fair to any of the vendors. And we had no control over that. But that's something that I go over in the planning with the couples now, to say, hey, you know, make sure that you know kind of what your best man, maid of honor, bridesmaids, groomsmen, parents, whoever's doing the toast, make sure that you kind of tell them, hey, let's keep it to the point and keep it simple. And if you're gonna roll with more than 1 or 2, you know, then you really have to kind of reel them in and say, look, like we got to keep this really short.
Yeah, I get scared when they say, in our final meeting, and they say, and then we have 3 dances, 4 toasts, a blessing, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Well, what time's dinner gonna be?
Some couples want to do it all, which is totally fine. We're seeing a trend where a lot of couples want to do less, and that's fine too. But I think it's really important to kind of go through a wedding reception outline, whether it's on a book or through Google, whether it's with your DJ, your venue, and decide what's important and what you want to do and what you don't want to do. And if you don't want to do it, cut it out. If mom says you have to do it, okay, do it quickly to appease her, and then move on.
Yeah, definitely.
Another
Yeah.
question. All right. Oh boy. Do you have any pet peeves, and what are they? Well, from a DJing perspective, I hate when people put their drinks up near me, whether it's you know, on the equipment or on the speakers. You know, I get it. You're dancing and you have this drink and you want to put it somewhere. Go put it on a table, or put it on the bar, or put it back at your seat. So then when you're having fun out there, you're not spilling it on people. So from that perspective, it would be that. The other thing that gets kind of annoying at weddings nowadays is they come up and they put their phone in your face and show you the song that they want rather than telling you.
Oh,
You know,
I never thought of that.
yeah, so they're pulling up their, you know, their Spotify playlists or YouTube or whatever, and rather than actually like having a conversation with you, it's just like pointing at your phone, like, hey, play this. You know, so that's fine. Something else that this is just from a DJ, all over the DJ's perspective, is play it next. You know, okay. There's a reason why. So like with beat mixing, you know, if we're beats per minute or what the speed of a song is. So if we're at like an 80 beats per minute and your request is 130 beats per minute, there's no way to mix those songs together. So there's no way that we can play that song unless we're really trying to go for a big transition, which sometimes you can, but it might take 2 or 3 songs to be able to get to that song. And also too, sometimes the best weddings work with when you're playing a couple of the same type of genre. So if we're in a you know, like late 90s set or something like that, and you request a country song or, you know, a brand new Cardi B song or something like that, it might take a couple songs to kind of get to that segue. Like we can't just abruptly change it, or it's going to totally flip your dance floor, and maybe that's not what we want to do at that time. All right, go with another one here. What makes you the happiest? I think my family. I have a beautiful wife and 2 kids. One daughter is going to be 15 in a week and a half, and the other's 10. So I mean, just seeing them grow and turn into these beautiful women makes me happy. As a dad, seeing that father-daughter dance, it gets me every time at a wedding. So the kids definitely make me happy. My wife is great too, so she deals with all my crap, so she makes me happy. And I have 2 cats; they make me happy too. So we don't have dogs because we're too busy. But that's my youngest wants a teacup corgi. So that's for.
You can take it everywhere.
But when she can handle it and take it everywhere, that's fine. But we don't want to be the ones having to do that right now.
She's really up there.
Yeah. All right, another one.
Hey. You read that and passed on it.
What's the best thing about you? Ooh, I don't know. That's what kind of why I speak. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a really tough question. I don't really try to put myself in that line, but what's the best thing about you?
What do people compliment you on?
I mean, I can tell you what people don't compliment me on. That's tough. I guess one of my skill sets is if I do something a lot, I can get really good at it. So I've DJ'd a lot, so I think I get really good at it. If I spend a lot of time in a hobby, I may not be the best at it right away, but I can learn from that and get pretty talented at something that I'm passionate about. And I guess having passion probably is one of the things that probably would be best about me. I'm always striving to do better in whatever I do. So if it's being a better dad or husband or DJ or business owner, always trying to see what can I do to be better at it.
Excellent. That's a good answer. Well, I think maybe we should end on that. That was a great positive ending.
All right.
This was great.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I think this was so informative. I think DJing is so important to a wedding. It totally, runs the whole event. So this was such good information for our couples. And I mean, it's great that you came down here today.
Yep, I've always said that a photographer kind of gets you through the ceremony, and the DJ kind of gets you through the reception. There are couples that have the wedding planners, which are totally fine, and we'll work with them if you have the wedding planner. But the DJ can really kind of keep you on that timeline. And our ultimate goal is we want to get you to the party. So let's party, let's have fun, and let's do it.
Nittany, he's your man. Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.